Morning, people. Tuesday, the 14th of April, 2026. Nothing of note from last year. I was still on Acorn Ward, bored to tears. Shuffling up and down ward with me 4-wheel stroller. Occasionally going at day room and sitting in there because it was different to sitting in chair at the side of my bed. Still connected to the mini vac, to the little vac. So you have to excuse me. It's bright and sunny again today. See if I can get it to turn round. Here we go. Look, it's bright and sunny outside. Really nice and sunny. Turn back this way, thank you. It's bright and sunny, but it's a little bit nippy. So my nose is a little bit runny, and I haven't got my tissues with me. So yeah, it's Tuesday. Alfin came to watch match last night, and I must admit, he left in a slightly worse mood than when he arrived, because Man United lost. For the first time in 45 years in the league, Leeds won at Old Trafford. Now, I've got to say, as it shows you there, on the shittest tattoo you've ever seen, I'm Barnsley. I'm Barnsley through and through. It's the only tattoo I've got, the first tattoo and the only tattoo I've ever had. And obviously I went with White Rose, that was the old Barnsley badge. It's supposed to look like this, but it doesn't. It looks like this. If I can get a better photo, here we go. Look, Barnsley FC. It's so shit. It's unbelievable. But that word, I've had that. God, now 30 odd year. I've always wanted. I really want to sleeve, but I've never had money to do it. So potentially once. Well, no, I'm not going to go into that now. But so yeah, so I'm Barnsley through and through. Absolutely 100% Barnsley through and through. Cut me, I bleed red. But since I were about 3, 4, 5 year old, I've liked Leeds. It's a rarity in Barnsley fans to like Leeds, which I don't understand, because we've had ex-Leeds players, we've had ex-Leeds players as managers. But yeah, for some reason, it's kind of unwritten. If Barnsley were to play Leeds, I'd be supporting Barnsley. Simple as that. Whereas our Finn has grown up, is Barnsley first and foremost, but he also likes Man U. We went to the very first time I took our Finn to Hillsborough to watch Barnsley play them lot. We lost to a injury time goal after there'd been 4 minutes injury time and they played about 6. And he turned to me with tears in his eyes and says, "Dad, I'll always like Man United, but I love Barnsley." Ta-da! My work here is done. Excuse me. So yeah, I've always liked Leeds. It's dropped off as years have gone by. And oddly enough, as a Leeds fan, I shouldn't like Man United, but our Finn will be the first to tell you, as will Vicky and the mum, who both are Man U fans, that there's nobody cheered loud enough or louder this season for them to do well than me. The one of them clubs that should be doing all right and haven't been, but again. Something like that tuft of hair there always makes me think I've got some muck on my face. Vicky's dad, bless him, he was a big Man U fan. The Christmas before he passed, I bought him a hat and a scarf. I can't remember, a hat and something else. And I literally walked down to the checkouts holding the tag like that, so I didn't have to touch them. But yeah, I've got Leeds in my blood. I can't tell you anything more than that. First time I went to see them was 1977 and they played Spurs at Ellen Road. A 1-1 draw, I believe. And that was back when Spurs had a team as well. But yeah, so Leeds won last night. Alfin weren't best pleased. But, you know, they're still third. But it takes Leeds 6 away from drop. So, yeah. What else to tell you? I said not a great deal. Post lady's been this morning, bless her. And I've had my final wage slip and my P45. So, if it weren't official beforehand, it is now. So, yeah. That's... What's to make it choke me up a bit. Opening P45 up. And, you know, I haven't wage slip, but predominantly P45. But... here we go. As I say, it's a chapter in my life that I will look on fondly. I'm proud to have been a support worker. I'm proud to have done what I've done. I would hope that I brought something beneficial to the young people that I did support. I've had some bloody good times doing it. I've had some rougher times doing it, getting attacked and clothing ripped and one thing and another, but it's one of them things that comes with a job, you know it does. You've got to face up to this. When you're dealing with people with behavioural problems, I mean, we in theory, the service I worked in, we got self-contained flats. The people that are in the self-contained flats, it's specifically an autism unit, an autism service. It's not behavioural, but autism and behavioural problems seem to go hand in hand. So yeah, I've been up for wrestling a few times. You get up, dust yourself off. That next day you find yourself back up floor, but you're on your back with your hands and your legs in air, pretending to be a dying fly like Teletubbies. Such is life, and I'm going to miss it. I am going to miss it. There's two things in life that I'm going to miss, and there's one that I still miss, and this one I'm going to miss. The other one being baking. I used to be a baker for Tesco. I was at Tesco for 28 years. I baked for God knows how many years. And it's possibly something about that. Apart from this, I said they're on a bit of a par, the best jobs I've ever done. My job history, I'll tell you my job history because it's brief. I was a weekend cleaner at Motor City, DC Cook, where I was paid to clean, sweep up, and one thing or another. But I did a lot of other things like changing oil filters and stuff that mechanics were getting paid to do, I do, and they'd give me a little bit of a backhander and they got paid, which I learnt a bit. I also learnt that there's a wrong way and a right way to put a rear bumper on a Mini Metro, because Kathy Staff came in to have her fog light changed on her rear bumper. And if those of that are too young to know Kathy Staff is or was, nor about it. So yeah, she came in once, so rear spotlight, rear fog light changed on a bumper, on a rear bumper. One of the mechanics said, "Oh Sam, you can do that." for whatever reason, you had to take bumper off to do it. And I did, and put it back on. She comes, she picked car up, and she's driving down. As you looked at it, work garage sort of like part of DC doors, there were a long road down to entrance, and I'm stood there, and mechanic is next to me, he's going, "You put that on side?" I'm like, "Yeah." Feeling right chuffed and proud with me, and he went, "Oh, it's upside down, you daft twat." So she had to come back in and have it put back on properly. So yeah, I used to get backhanded off at mechanics for that. I then started working at Tesco part-time, then went full-time at Tesco's, and I did 28 years at Tesco's. And the only reason I left is after I'd had my scooter accident and my mobility were limited, I couldn't work in the bakery anymore. I used to do a few hours of a morning, basically sat finishing off morning goods, like, you know, glazing things and decorating things, one thing and that. But yeah, the Tesco's decided they were going to buy an old Safeway in Sheffield, and I was asked, two of my management team were going and managing that store, and I was asked, "Do you mind coming and working at recruitment centre for a couple of weeks?" Which I did, and then a couple of weeks turned into 12 years. Firstly, I did about a month at recruitment centre. This is where I met King of the Mods, actually. I'd seen him at a couple of recruitment things, and seen him, you can tell a mod when you see a mod. So I'd strategically parked my Vespa outside the porter cabin, and I got my coat hung up with my jam badge showing, and we eventually started talking. I've been mates with him now, 20 year, 21 year. Bloody hell, yeah. So I worked at the recruitment centre, then I got offered a job in the cash office, which I did for a while. Then I got a job on front end, which I did. And as I told you the other week, I worked on front end. And then I also did a lot at front end, but before I went down there, I did dinners for night team. I got made redundant from there. I took voluntary redundancy from there because they stopped opening through night, and my job just wasn't there. And then the only things they could offer me were part-time at other stores, and I weren't dropping my hours from full-time. And to be honest, they give me a big bag of money, more. Me and Vicky had said we talked it through, it weren't just a question of, oh, go on then. We had sat and we talked it through, me and Vic, and then I talked it through with management at work, and we discussed ifs, whats and maybes. But me and Vicky had said, we'll take X amount of money. If they offered us this, I'm taking redundancy. And when the offer that actually came back with, well, that plus more than half again. So it were a no-brainer, and it paid for new windows in house, full new kitchen in house. I bought a brand new Vespa, which I had an order for two and a half months. I had it 4 weeks and it got nicked. So yeah, I look back on Tesco's very fondly. Went from Tesco's, I had a discussion with Vicky. It's like, I'm gonna have a break. I've been working for 28 years. I've been on nights for 12. I'm gonna have a rest, couple of months off, and then I'll look at getting a job. Well, I finished on 1st of May. Came home the Friday morning. Vicky picked me up and drove me home in tears. I came home that Friday morning, fully intent on having a good couple of months off. Monday morning, I sat downstairs with the laptop looking for jobs, as you do, because I knew I was going to be bored senseless. I was out of work a calendar month. I started at a call centre, working for a phone company on recontracting. Hated it, still hate it. Put me in hospital twice with what I thought were heart attacks, it weren't, it were anxiety and stress. So I handed my notice in there. That was in the January. In the February, I interviewed for the job that I've just finished and started March the 23rd, 2020. As I said before, the very day that the country went into lockdown. So yeah, I've had that's it. I had a part-time job, then 28 years with a company, 4 years with a company, 6 years with a company. So I don't think I've done bad, really, with my life. I've been loyal. I mean, as much as I hated the call centre job, I was told by another team leader at that place that if I'd have worked on his team, I'd have probably wanted to stop. I was never asked to do anything unethical. I just, or should I say, I wasn't exactly asked to do anything illegal, but I found things a bit unethical. But I'll leave it at that because I'm not, I got out of there. What else? What else to tell you? Not a great deal, really. Excuse me. All this talking. I think Bob got us these. Bit of product placement. It's 48 bottles for £8. And the big 660ml bottles as well, going from Marins. The other went out of date last month, but best before, not used by. Excuse me. So yeah, Barnsley playing tonight, Port Vale away. That'll be on Sky Sports Plus. I'll be watching that. But that's pretty much it for me today. What we're on? How many minutes we're on now? Okay, now 17. Pardon my French. So that's pretty much it for today, then, folks. I've rambled. I've waffled. Yeah, my life work in 17 and a half minutes. There we go. I think of something more interesting to tell you tomorrow. Enjoy your Tuesday. Up the Reds, TKFM.